What's up, guys? It's your Out Here for the Team Fantasy Football League Commissioner Cody. I'm here with your Week 2 review. Jeez, I'm already getting confused with myself. This is your recap of what happened in Week 2 with our teams. First, as always, we'll start out with our defending champion, Scott. Scott beats Hobert. Battle of the heavyweights. If you look at the scores, Scott with a demolishing 255.35 to Hobert's strong but not strong enough 209.34. Not much to really say. Looking at the stars, Matt was pretty top heavy. Aaron Jones with his 53.1 and his Bills receivers, John Brown and Stephon Diggs combining for 49.5 points, which is pretty big, especially when I was questionable about the Bills' offense. Hobert, I'm sorry. Zeke coming through with a solid 26.7, and Jared Goff blowing up with a 35.33 points. As far as Goff's concerned, Jesus. I mean, he didn't do that last week for me in my other league, and I sat him. Fortunately, I ended up winning, but shout out Hobert for throwing Goff in there, even though he sucked in week 1. Moving on to Scott's stars. Jesus, where do we start and where do we end? I have a whole list of Scott's guys who are just blowing up consistently. Dak with his 50.65. Eckler with his 22.8. Calvin Ridley, 30.9. Even Christian McCaffrey before he left the game, 29.3 points. I can't even read my writing here. James Robinson, 26 points. Matt Ryan, 42.32. Ravens defense. Shit, I can't even read my own writing. But somebody had 25.1 points. Sorry, Scott, I can't remember who that was. But Jesus Christ, man. Looking at the disappointments, obviously, Scott, you don't have very much. Your disappointment is Paris Campbell, who put up 0.95 points, but he tore his ACL. Nothing you can do about that. Hope Paris Campbell gets himself together because he had a lot of promise out of college at Ohio State. So hopefully we can get him on the field next couple seasons. Josh Lambo, your kicker, like I said, I couldn't find anything wrong with your team. Your kicker sucked. He had 5 points. It's about as far as that's going. Could you imagine if Scott was fully healthy? He probably could have put up 30 or an extra 20, 30 points depending on Paris Campbell and Josh Lambo. At least the potential there. Looking at Darius Slayton on Hobert's side, we gave him some shit during the week about keeping him in there, or during Sunday, I guess, about keeping him in there. 6.3 points. He's hit or miss, as I said. And after week 1, I was like, okay, Danny Dimes, let's go. Now we're in week 2, past week 2, almost week 3, and after week 2, I'm just like, sheesh. A little worried about Danny Dimes. Now we'll get into Danny Dimes in the future, but Darius Slayton's got a path waiting for him. Sterling Shepard went down, so hopefully that'll be a switch up here. And like I said, I didn't say it yet, but Saquon's down, so they're gonna be down a lot more. They're gonna end up having to throw the ball. Darius Slayton might be a good late league stash. Or late in the season stash, I should say. Mark Andrews had a flopping 3.9 after his big 20. I think he had 29 points the previous week. I have him in a league. I fortunately won it, but it wasn't because of him. So Hobert, don't expect that to consistently happen because I believe he'll be, at the worst, a solid 10, 15 points just consistently, let alone putting up to 20, 30 points as we all know he can do. Looking at the benches here, Hobert, you left Devontae Parker on your bench, understandably because you didn't know if he was going to play or if Preston Williams was going to be there or who's going to who's even going to be a part of that offense because the offense was so bad in week 1. He had 16.3 points. Jonnu Smith came out with 2 touchdowns. I can't believe he sat him after Tannehill loves himself a tight end. 24.4 points. I don't see how you don't have him in your starting lineup next week. Scott, your bench didn't fucking matter. Derek Carr at 30.73 points. Whatever. You had Matt Ryan and Dak, so it's not like you're going to start Derek Carr anytime soon. And Jordan Reed, I'm sure he was just a pickup just because Kittle's out. 24 points. I bet you next week Kittle's out. You're gonna start yourself some Jordan Reed over. Replace that Paris Campbell slot, I bet. That's my personal opinion, but I'm sure Scott will take that advice. Moving on. Before we move on, congratulations, Scott. You are 2-0. Defending champion. I look forward to catching you at some point without CMC. Moving on to Liam beating Craig. Liam improves to 1-1, while Craig falls to 0-2. Score for that was 174.19 to 142.49. Stars in that matchup, there weren't too many overperformers, I felt like. Minshew with a solid 34.46. I do believe in that offense for some reason. Like, they have nobody, but they have everybody without a name. Minus Minshew Mania. Kareem Hunt with 26.6 points, pretty solid. I have him in a league, and he led me to victory. Actually, I think I ended up losing that league by a couple points, but he kept me in it. I think he was one of my higher point scorers there. Metcalf had 21.2. Shout out Russell Wilson, as we'll get there in the future, but Metcalf with a solid week. Moving over to Craig's team. Craig, nobody's overperforming the way that I think that they might. Like, CEH, 15 points is good, but, like, that's not an overperformer in my opinion. Looking at who overperformed in your league, Steelers defense, 21.53. Like I said, anytime you see a defense that puts up in that high teens, solid 20 points, I'm going to throw them on this list. I don't see anybody getting through the Steelers defense this season. Robbie Anderson, 18.9 points. With CMC going down, I see this offense going into full pass mode. Now, Bridgewater likes to dink and dunk here, but as you can see, back-to-back week 1 and 2 performances, Robbie Anderson has had solid outings, and he's a deep threat. So I'm buying in, and I understand why you kept Robbie Anderson, Craig, as I didn't understand previously. Young Huku, the kicker, 17 points. That was all that shined, really, for Craig this week. Looking at disappointments, T.Y. Hilton, 5.8. As we thought he might be Keenan Allen in this offense, he obviously is not. Looking at Jared Cook at 9.3. You think that with Michael Thomas out, Matthew Berry, among every other analyst, was thinking, oh, Jared Cook. Oh, we were wrong. It's Traquan Smith. And Alvin Kamara, of course, out of the backfield. Malcolm Brown, 7.45 points. I think he had a pinky injury of some sort, so we'll see how long he may or may not be out. And Teddy Bridgewater with 12.78. He screwed me this week in another league as well. So, that offense is going to be good. I'm not sure that Teddy's going to be the starting quarterback to win you a championship. With that being said, moving over to Liam's side, I don't really have any disappointments for Liam. I didn't have a lot of stars either. However, he put up 174 points. And doing the math on the 3 stars, it's just rounding about 26, 21, that's 47 plus the 35. So we're at about 7. Almost half of his points came from those 3 players. Looking at the rest of it, a solid 174.19 points. Like, that's solid for the most part. Like, I would, on a bad week, as I may or may not have had, we'll get there in a second, keep you guys waiting. But I am aiming for that at a bad week. So with that being said, Liam, that's not bad at all. And your guys were average. They put up a solid 10 to 20 points. Nothing blew me away. Nothing was like, oh man, you should have played this guy over that guy. With that being said, looking at the bench, Liam, I probably would have threw Tannehill in there. Not that, looking back, I would have, but the points say otherwise. So obviously, he had 38.96 points. N'Keal Harry, who I think is going to be a stud here moving forward, because Cam has really proven to be a solid fantasy asset with throwing and running. But even throwing, N'Keal Harry had 15.2 points. I hope to see that continue too. So hopefully you can throw him in your lineup going forward as well. Moving over to Craig's bench, he left his boy Lenny. He's chilling, just not for Netflixing, apparently. You gotta... I guess Lenny's going to be the guy. I threw him out there this week because I had to. I didn't have to. I'll get into my shit later. But, Lenny threw up 32.6. He's taken over the reins. Rojo is not the man. It is Leonard Fournette in Tampa Bay. I bet you if you call Brandon will be like, hey, I want this offense. What do you need for Lenny? You could probably get yourself something in the future, plan ahead, because it's, no offense, Craig, but your team's looking a little rough right now. You have some hope. You have Jerick McKinnon, 16.2. He did leave the game this week, I believe, but he's not supposed to miss too much time. Justin Gage for the Falcons. Receiver, I don't know what happened to Julio, as we'll get into. 16.4 points for Gage. I don't see how he's not consistently up there as well. It's like they're bypassing Julio for some reason. Even last week, all 3 receivers had nine receptions. So I definitely would think about throwing him in there as well. And Brandon Cooks, 14.5, I just thought that was worth noting simply because Brandon Cooks hasn't really done too much. And he's traded everywhere. I love me some Brandon Cooks, but every year he faces the adversity, and I like to say that I'd be proven wrong with Brandon Cooks this year. With that being said, congratulations, Liam. Craig, you got some work to do. Like I said, guys, feel free. You can trade draft picks. You can trade 4 draft picks. You just have to even them out. You can't have more draft picks than somebody else. You just have, you know what I mean? Just something to think about with you guys that are, consistently putting up sub 150 weeks. You're not going to get a chance to play Kyle or Dylan every week. The only reason I say that is because of last week. I don't think that either one of them put up sub 150 points. And if they did, whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you're tanking, I know Kyle has a history of going after picks and planning the future. So, with that being said, it's been a rough 2 weeks for a couple people in this league, including you, Craig, unfortunately. So maybe look in the future there. Moving on to Brandon losing to Will. There was a lot of trash talk. I'd like to throw this into the rivalry pile as well. Brandon back-to-back rivalry weeks going 0-2, unfortunately. The score for that was Will threw up 223.41 to Brandon's 159.35. Will's undefeated, as I said, he's a contender. Brandon, we've talked multiple times together where I think that you are a close contender. You are a pretender, but close contender, as your team says, Mr. Pretender. I told you this week that if they do what I think your team can do, then you're in the contending bracket. They didn't do that. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. Tom Brady might have been the wrong keeper there. I don't know what to say. Mike Evans finally showed up for you this week, given he didn't have Godwin again on the other side. 24.4 points. That's great and dandy. Jonathan Taylor, 26.5. Like I said, he's going to be a beast this year and going forward. Big Ben coming out of the Stone Age here, 30.29 points. Solid outing for Ben, and as I said, he's definitely going to be anywhere between a top 5 and top 10 fantasy quarterback this year. I like to think he's in the former compared to the latter, but either way, high-end QB1 there. And then your Bears defense was a solid 19.43 points. Like, that's just solid. However, those 4 players and team, I guess, defense, we're not a match to the other side. It's just, there's nothing you can do, okay? Looking at Alvin Kamara, 41.65 for Will. James Conner, who I'm sorry, Will. I'm very sorry, okay? I'm sorry I was wrong. I took a flyer on Brandon. It didn't work out. I went after James Conner, and by go after, I talk shit. I'm sorry, James Conner. I'm sorry, Will Arias, okay? I was wrong. Your commissioner was wrong, okay? I don't know where this came from or how all of a sudden he became healthy, but James Conner threw up 25.1 points. DJ Moore with 21 points. Terry McLaurin came out with 26.5 points. CeeDee Lamb with a solid 18.75. And CeeDee Lamb is going to be nice. I love me some CeeDee Lamb. I threw him out here on a flyer in one of my other leagues, and it really paid off. I got the dub there. Kyler Murray with 38.54. Jesus, like... his top half of his team is so heavy, and the rest of it is just like almost there. You know what I mean? And that's even without Lamar. And we'll get into Lamar in a second. Getting down to the disappointments, Brandon Brady might not be that guy. 15.43 points. He's Tom Brady. Whoop-de-doo, the greatest quarterback to ever play. No argument here. However, fantasy-wise, 15.43 in this league is not going to cut it. Unless you're me and you get lucky with Danny Dimes and 9 points, which we'll get into as well. But Tom Brady is not that guy, and your team needs to hit, not miss. You can't afford to have those misses from him. I just hope that we can find you a solution because, like I said, I like your team on paper. These disappointments are very disappointing. Like, very disappointing. Saquon tore his ACL. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Can't avoid that. Hollywood 9.2. I mean, Lamar he didn't need to throw it. Like, he didn't need to. Mark Ingram ran the ball. Emmanuel Sanders, 2.8 points. Traquan Smith took over, and Alvin Kamara. It was a two-headed monster. The offense obviously needs some help. Drew Brees said he's just managing the game. Like, that's what he's there for. That's not going to win them a Super Bowl, so I hope to see that change because Drew Brees needs to not look like he's 45 and look like he's 35 again. Disappointments on Will's side. Will put up 223 points. Almost as impressive as Scott's 255 with Devontae Adams with an injury, 6.6 points. He was able to come back, but they were winning and the game was over, so they didn't do that. So I'm not worried about Devontae. Me and Will share a team in another league with Devontae. I am not totally worried yet. Keyword is yet, because that could change. Lamar Jackson, I throw him on the disappointment because he's Lamar Jackson. Like 23.76 points. Come on, Will. You need more production out of Lamar Jackson. Okay. Come on, 10th round pick. You need more out of him. I'm just kidding. Will, like I said, there's not much to really complain about your team right now. And it's, as somebody who's playing against you, I want to complain about your team because I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you being at the top of the points. Looking at the bench, though, Will, you left DeAndre Swift down there. I mean, for good reason. 13.45 points. Hunter Henry, 14.3. I mean, there's not there's not much that you can really complain about on Will's team at this current moment. Like I said, I've been very critical of the top. The top half has been solid, but the bottom half has been questionable. This week, he obviously shut me up. Kudos to Will. I can admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong, Will. I am sorry. Okay, don't take it out on me in our team in our league together. Okay, let's just. Bear with me. I'm working on getting the guests. I need to jump on the bandwagon. I'm sorry. Brandon, your Miami Dolphins were on your bench. For somebody who wants to win some fantasy, he left a solid 61.17 points, give or take, between Gesicki and Fitzmagic. I think you should ride or die with your Dolphins at this point because Brady's not doing it for you. Until you see Tua out there. Fitzmagic won me a championship last year, and Gesicki could be Devontae Parker. That's all I'm going to say, Brandon. With that being said, like I said, Will's undefeated 2-0. Brandon has had some tough losses here this week, last 2 weeks, and like I said, hold up, Brandon. You'll be fine, bro. You'll be all right. Just if you do decide to tank, let me know. I'm moving on here. Dylan lost to Eric. Dylan fell to 0-2, and Eric has improved to 2-0. He should be like 5-0 just because his team is that good, in my opinion. Jesus Christ. Dylan with the 166.29 to Eric's 212. Dylan did increase his point total this week, so I feel optimistic about his team going forward. When I say optimistic, I mean he's not gonna bend over and let Kyle just give it to him for 123. Okay, that's what I mean. There's not much to really say. I mean, his stars weren't his star players that he kept. That's not true. Hold on one second. Hold the phone. Deontay Johnson with a solid 24.2. If Ben's going to do that top 5 to 10 quarterbacks, I mean, I was wrong. I had my buddy Jay, shout out Jay. He asked me, what do you think about Deontay Johnson? I was like, I'm not bought in yet. I watched the game. I'm bought in. Like, this man is athletic. He can catch anything. He's tall. Watch out. I just think this man, Dylan, I was wrong. I was wrong on Deontay Johnson. Mark Ingram, as I said, 17.93 points, ran all over the field this week. Joe Burrow with 35.59. I was questionable on starting Burrow, but it's the Browns defense, so who could blame you? It obviously paid off, got you in the 160 range. The Colts defense with 22.17. And I mentioned your keepers. Justin Tucker with a solid 16 points. Sorry, no, I just got to play with you with it. You kept a kicker. But he is in your stars list, so you're welcome, my guy. Moving over to Eric's team, Jesus Christ, Cam Newton with 45.53 points. Again, Eric, I was wrong about Cam. I thought he was a questionable round 5 flyer. I still say that you could have got him later. However, obviously I was wrong. Excellent job with you. Tyreek Hill to 24.05, solid. Melvin Gordon, 21.15. Here we go, classic Melvin Gordon, because he has no Phillip Lindsay for the foreseeable future. Josh Jacobs, 20.25. Jesus, I love me some Josh Jacobs. Raheem Mostert, 22.7 before he exited with a sprained MCL, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but he'll probably miss a couple weeks. Josh Allen, everybody on the 49ers team is going to miss a couple weeks. Josh Allen, 49.48. Jesus. Again, Hobert, I'm sorry about your Bills. I was wrong. They're the real deal. Josh Allen's the real deal. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. He's going to provide 2 1,000-yard receivers this year, and it's going to blow my mind because we're talking about Buffalo. Eric, that's an excellent keeper you had for 10th round value. Not much to really say. I mean, you're just so top heavy. I don't look forward to playing you right now. Disappointments. Sammy Watkins 2.1. It's Sammy Watkins. Like, I said in the preview video that, I mean, you didn't start him last week because he blew up, and here he is starting, and now we're, sorry I was wrong. If you took my advice and started him, Eric, I am sorry, okay? Your commissioner has been wrong this week. All right. Dallas Goedert, 7 points. I didn't think he was going to repeat that performance. They have Zach Ertz there. Like, if any tight end's going to blow up like that moving forward, it's going to be Zach Ertz, not Goddard, in my opinion. But, they can. They definitely can have 2 viable tight ends, especially because they don't have a receiver. You tell me who their receivers are, they're actually doing something, and I'll give you a cookie. All right? You need to relax. That's my cat. Looking over at Dylan's disappointments, Carson Wentz, the whole Eagles organization is a disappointment at this current moment. Ask Kyle. He loves them to death. 17.28 from Carson Wentz. Devin Singletary, 12.1. 12.1. I don't trust any running. I have Zach Moss, and I don't trust any running back in that backfield. Nyheim Hines, I advised a friend to start Nyheim Hines because Phil Rivers loves him a passing back and a blocking back, and 2.4 points is not what I would have anticipated for him. Zach Ertz, 9.2 points, as we talked about Dallas Goedert. There really isn't. I don't know what to say about the Eagles. If you have any questions about the Eagles, ask Kyle, and you can get a true Eagles fan's response. You can just get entertainment at that point because he's very upset, I'm sure. MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 9.4 points. I mean, after the week previously, that's pretty disappointing. Looking at the bench, the tight end Atkins from Houston, 12.5 points. Jerry Jeudy, 10.2 on your bench, Dylan. You've been hit with an injury bug. There's no really ragging on your team because your team isn't healthy. If your team was fully healthy and you're putting up 120 the week before and 160 this week, then we could be going after you. But minus the keeper of the kicker, okay? But other than that, I mean, you have just been wiped away with injuries. Now, I think that you do have a blessing in disguise. I think Jeff Driscoll is going to be a nice backup for Drew Lock. With that being said, I know Cortland Sutton tore his ACL. Poor guy, tore his ACL and has some NCL and has his shoulder problem too. He's out for the season. So Jerry Jeudy, I think you might have been hit with the beautiful gift. Watch out for Dylan. I think that his team could really blow up once he gets healthy. Just wait for him to get healthy. If he doesn't get healthy, then forget about it. Just forget. But if he gets healthy, he throws Jeudy in his lineup. He's got Galladay. Ertz starting getting his contract. Not get his contract, but play like he deserves a contract. Carson Wentz plays like Carson Wentz knows how to play. I mean, Galladay, Jeudy, Mark Ingram, Joe Burrow, Deontay Johnson, this team could blow the fuck up. So you guys better watch out and hope Dylan does not get healthy this year because he has Michael Thomas sitting there and doing nothing because he's hurt. I said all those names and I forgot Michael Thomas. I forgot my guy, Michael Thomas. Dylan. I forgot my guy, Michael Thomas. Eric, you just left Claypool on your bench. You knew he was going to be good, but you didn't think it was going to be this week. I didn't either, to be honest. I don't see how you start Sammy Watkins over him going forward. I think that the Steelers' offense is very potent, and I just don't. I mean, just a hunch. With that being said, congratulations to Eric. Good luck, Dylan. I hope you get healthy because your team could be scary. You could definitely slide into a 7th or 8th seed in the playoffs if your team gets healthy in the next couple weeks. Moving on to Phil versus Kyle. Phil beats Kyle 161.17 to Kyle's 147.95. They both even out to 1-1. Phil, your stars: Mahomes 39.08, Keenan Allen 15.6, Travis Kelce with 24, Aaron Rodgers 25.7. Obviously, Rodgers had a down week this week. Compared to last week. But when you have Aaron Jones running all over everybody, what else do you need? Actually, and speaking of Aaron Jones, I did mention Aaron Jones. All right, so Aaron Jones has been freed. I just wanted to mention that because that's important. Aaron Jones needs to be freed. He needs to be free because he's Aaron Jones. And as somebody who had Aaron Jones last year and just loves Aaron Jones, don't have him this year, unfortunately, just didn't fall that way. Watch out, because Rodgers could lose a lot of points to Aaron Jones. Moving on to... I got sidetracked there. My apologies. Looking at Kyle's team, I mean, nobody really overperformed other than Nick Chubb, 32.8, and Edelman, 26.9. Tyler Boyd did show up for 20.2. I also have Baker on this list just because I think that lowly of Baker. I know he looked a little bit better this week, but I'm still not sold on Baker yet. I need to see it more. And I have some OBJ in some leagues, and I'm just, at this point, I'm trying to get rid of him. Like, I got lucky the last week, but I don't know. I'm just really, really questionable on Baker. I'm looking at disappointments in this matchup. David Johnson with 9.75 points. Allen Robinson, 6.3. AJ Green, 5.9. I think the receiver you want to own in Cincinnati is going to be Tyler Boyd, but AJ Green will have some big weeks. Disappointments, though, looking at Peyton Barber for Kyle, 0.35 points. He just was hoping for the best. Thielen, 6.1. That was a rough game for the Vikings. Austin Hooper, 4.2. I don't like him at all. Rivers, 15.36. You just expected high, not you, but I personally expected higher from Rivers and that Colts offense. But, shit happens, I'm looking at the bench. David Montgomery on your bench, Phil. Fortunately, it didn't matter. 25.7 points. Josh Kelly, you need to start throwing him in your lineup, Phil, every week. No questions asked. Just throw him in there because they're going to have 2 top 20 running backs, if not top 15 or top 10 running backs. Keep in mind, Phil, Austin Eckler and Melvin Gordon last year both were top 12 running backs. So just because you don't have Eckler and they run 2 running backs doesn't mean that Joshua Kelly isn't going to be that guy. And I'd be a little worried about Keenan Allen, but at some point he's going to have to eat. And Justin Herbert looks good. I was very impressed with Justin Herbert being thrown in there last minute, taking over for Tyrod. You also left Corey Davis on your bench, 12.6. He's going to be solid. Not much to really say. Your team could be really, really good. Your bench, you left, 25 plus 19, so 44 points, give or take. Between Montgomery and Kelly, you could easily be in the 200 range if you throw them in there. But I'm not saying you're going to sit David Johnson either. I would sit AJ Green, but, just decisions to make. And even Rojo's not the guy anymore. I know he scored. I know he got you 12 points. And I was going to throw him on there on the stars list because, that was a star-type game for Rojo. Ronald Jones is not that good. At least I haven't seen it. And Leonard Fournette took little side story here. Sorry to get distracting here, but Rojo scores first touchdown, first couple carries. I'm starting to get worried about Leonard Fournette in my other leagues. I have him. I threw him in there just as a flyer. I just had a feeling. Rojo scores. Oh shit. Halftime. Okay. They still have 14 points. All of a sudden, Leonard Fournette has 32 points. I want no part of Rojo. Stay away. If you can get yourself Leonard Fournette, listen, if you guys are feeling like throwing draft picks to Craig, to Dylan, to Kyle, Brandon, Gary, not that Gary's paying attention to this video. Gary, if you're watching this video, text me and tell me you watched this video, okay? Because I know you're not. All these guys that are, 0-2, low point totals each week that may need to look into the future. You might be able to get yourself some Leonard Fournette, Phil, and give yourself, if you know what I mean? You're that close to 200 points and being a contender that watch out for Phil. Looking at Kyle's bench, Hayden Hurst, 19.2 points. I don't know how you start Austin Hooper over Hayden Hurst ever moving forward. And your bench, you have 4 guys on your bench that consistently had 11 to 15 points. I didn't list them all because there's 4 guys. Like, I don't want to list 6 guys that you left on your bench in that little time frame. Like, they're not going to make or break your team, Kyle, but at the same time, they deserve consideration to join the starting lineup. In my opinion, like I said, I can go kick a brick if I want, because you guys do what you want, do what you want with your teams. These are just my personal opinions, as I said, and I'm just here. This is my entertainment. This is my 30 minutes with you guys, even though you don't talk back. And I do this shit in my free time as well, as I've said multiple times. Now, the matchup you've all been waiting for. Not really, but my matchup. The commissioner's matchup. Cody's matchup. Cody did not put up the point total that he had preferred. That being said, Russell Wilson put up. So Cody's now is continuing to be undefeated, 2-0. Gary, unfortunately, 0-2. 176.27 for Cody to 140.29 for Gary. Stars of this game: Russell Wilson, 49.57. DeAndre Hopkins, 20.8. Chris Carson, 24.05. Waller, the fucking baller. Darren fucking Waller showed up this week. 12 receptions, over 100 yards, and a touchdown. A solid 29.3 points. You guys better watch out, because you're running into the brick wall with a baller. You better watch the fuck out. For Gary's team, though, he had a solid 18.4 for OBJ. Tyler Lockett with a 19.7. Remember, I had the, what I find intriguing. Wilson still threw a touchdown to Tyler Lockett, but it didn't matter. Tyler Higbee with 28.4 points. Dalvin Cook with a solid 20.6. Amari Cooper with 17 points. Solid outing for the top half, but the bottom half kind of just fell apart for you, man. Deshaun Watson, 19.25. That's he should easily be 20 or 30 points every week. Cam Akers got hurt. He'll miss some time with his ribs. 2.05 points. Kirk Cousins, he took you back 4 points. Negative 4.18. Like I said, the Vikings had a rough outing this week. Hopefully that can change, because I have some Vikings in other leagues, so hopefully that changes. Cody's disappointments, however, Julio with 4.4. Unbelievable. I can't believe that Russell Gage, I think I called him Justin Gage. Gage, I'll check the name. As your commissioner, I'm sorry that I messed up the name. But Gage for the Falcons, Calvin Ridley for the Falcons, and Julio Jones for the Falcons. I'm not about to just get rid of Julio because these other 2 no names. I can't get the names right. I know Calvin, obviously. But Gage, come on, guys. Let's get Julio the fucking ball. Why do you think you lost the game? 4.4 points. That's why. You got him 4.4 points. It takes me back. Brandon, I know you remember. It takes me back to when I needed 10 points from Julio frickin' Jones. My number 4 overall pick a couple years back. And I didn't get it. Why? Why do you do this to us? You're Julio Jones fantasy owners. Atlanta, you would have won the game if you got Julio the ball. Danny Dimes, 8.99. Sheesh, am I a little bit worried? I am. It's only one bad week, but at the same time, he lost Sterling Shepard for a little bit. Hopefully not too long. Saquon's out for a while. Hopefully they're just down and they have to throw the ball. But 8.99. I still got the dub, fortunately. But it's still questionable moving forward. Michael Gallup, I am really worried about Gallup. He's had 2 back-to-back disappointing weeks. 7.8 points this week. Like I said, fortunately I didn't get the loss, but I will be questioning whether or not he will be in my lineup going forward. I have other options, and I will exercise those options. On my bench, though, I left Antonio Gibson, I believe. I should have wrote first names. Antonio Gibson, 15.45 points. He did hit the end zone, but I'd like to see a little bit more consistency out of him. DJ Shark, 12.4 points. I put in Waller the baller there. I will not take Waller out for him, but I will look at Gallup and look at Shark because Minshew Mania is a thing, and them Jaguars are going to definitely be a contender this year. And looking at Traquan at 13.6, Dylan, I told you should have went after Traquan. I woke up at like 8:30 and like laid in my bed, fiddled on my phone for a little bit, and oh wait, Traquan's in there. I told you. Emmanuel's not the guy. Jared Cook is not the guy. Okay, I don't even know who's after Traquan Smith on the list. It's Traquan, it's Alvin Kamara until we see otherwise. Maybe some Latavius Murray. Sure, Jared Cook got a touchdown, but that doesn't mean anything. I know you don't have any of these guys, but I'm just saying, like, I don't understand why you didn't go after Traquan Smith. But hey, I'm glad with it. I got him on my bench. I'll sit with him. I don't care. Let me know. Let me know if you want him. Gary, Marvin Jones, 12.3. I don't know, man. Your team's just questionable. You have some good names, but you don't have any consistency, and that's the problem. Good luck going forward to you. You got your L this week from me. That's all I got for you. With that being said, tomorrow I will be having your Week 3 preview. I have special guests. We had the league's man on previously. I have other guests. 1 non-member, 2 members. I will not tell you who they are. You will see on Wednesday. All right? If you have any questions, guys, let me know. I'm very happy that there have been no COVID so far in the league. Nothing like that. However, the injury bug, whoever would have guessed that the injury bug would have taken over COVID season? Who would have thought? I hope everybody stays healthy. Everybody in the league, everybody in the NFL, football-wise. I hope you guys stay healthy too because it was a really, really rough week too. That being said, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Adios, amigos. We trying something new.